Let's work together to create a vessel mock-up. This is an I do, you do. So I'm going to demonstrate in this video, then you'll pause, you'll do yours, and then play and continue to the next step. You'll need tape, scissors, a sketch check sheet, a large rectangle, a small rectangle, both out of construction paper, and a Sharpie. We're going to start by going over the check sheet. And as always, we need to put our name, table number, and period number on every piece of paper that you submit to me. So we're going to get started with this one, but there's going to be more papers. So I'm not going to give myself points here, but I am going to circle it to remember to come back to it later. Pull out your manila sheet that has your brainstorm on it. We had to fold that paper. There's a spot on your check sheet for if you folded it, you get 6 points. So go ahead and put 6 points on there as long as you did that fold. Next, did you do the brainstorm we did together? If so, and you did at least 10 items, you can have 10 points. If you didn't do 10 items, don't give yourself 10 points. Finish and then give yourself 10 points. Pause, fill out your check sheet. Okay, it's time to begin on our vessels. We have to create 2, but together we're going to create 1. Here's an example of what we're going to make. Our vessel is going to be like a tube. Maybe you use it as a cup. First thing we're going to do is prep some masking tape. Remember, we can't use a lot of tape, so I'm not even going to prep a lot of tape. It's a small amount, and I'm going to break it into small pieces. If you have to use scissors, go ahead. You're going to attach them to the side of your table so that they're easy to grab. Pause, prepare your tape. I'm going to set my check sheet aside just so I have more room. To start this, I'm going to work on the side of my vessel. And to do that, I'm just going to bend, which I'm allowed to bend but not fold, my rectangle, and I'm going to attach it. Remember, you can't overlap. So when we attach, we need to attach end to end. I'm going to take one piece of tape and I'm going to attach it to one side of the rectangle with half of it hanging off the side. But don't forget, your name, table number, and period number needs to be on every piece, and it's much easier to write it when things are flat. Now that I have it labeled, I'm going to attach it to itself. So again, I will bend the rectangle, and I will line it up without overlapping, give it a little press, and now I've got the start of my tube. Pause, add your name, table number, and period number, and attach your tube. Now it's time to work on the bottom. Our bottom is round, our paper is square, so we're going to have to turn it into a round shape. You could go try to find an object around the room that matches the size you need, but I want to show you a different technique. So I'm going to take the tube that I created, I'm going to lay it down. Even though there's a point on it, I don't need to worry about the point. I'm taking my Sharpie and I'm going to create a dot to dot around the curved side, but I only need to do half of it. The top half is pointy, so I don't want to do that half. Pause, trace the curve with dots. Now, I'm going to fold this. We're not allowed to fold according to the rules, but I can fold a piece of paper if I want to make a shape that's symmetrical. And I do want to make a shape that's symmetrical. I want to make my bottom circle. So I folded it, I cut along that dot, and I got a pretty nice circular shape. I'm going to stop though and put my name, table number, and period number on there because again, it's easier to draw when it's flat. Pause and cut out your circle and write your name, table number, and period number. Now we're going to attach the bottom to our tube. Remember that tape we had earlier? We need the rest of that. So I'm only going to use a small amount, and I think 3 will work. Can't use too much. So I'm going to take one piece and hang it off the edge at a time. So again, I'm doing 3 of them. So now I have the sticky side up. I like to start on the side that I had 2 pieces joined because again, that didn't turn out to be circular. It needs a little extra support. I line up my tape on that edge and attach it. Now the rest could be tricky, so just take your time. I line it up, I line up the tape, and I bend it. Don't get frustrated, just take your time. Pause and attach your circle to your tube. Let's review your check sheet. We've made one vessel, but you're going to need two. So if you stopped here on this spot, you could only get 5 points. When you get 2 done, go ahead and change that to 10. Make sure that you are reading over this check sheet at all times. But together, let's just check out a couple of the requirements. You have a container where we're going to be storing our clay vessels. There's requirements about that container. The vessel you make has to fit in there. And it has to fit in there so that a pencil could fit above it. If you take a look at the vessel, there's this line. That's a kind of helpful tool. Your vessel shouldn't be higher than that. It also can't take up more than half the container. When you put the lid on, it has to fit on it without smushing your vessel at all. Make sure it doesn't smush it at all. This one so far is pretty good. What's next? Wait a minute. It says it can't be a plain cube or tube, but we just made a plain tube. You wouldn't want to submit that as your main one because you'd lose points. Could you do something to this to make it more interesting? Sure. We could change the top, maybe cut that out, maybe cut some items out of it, right? Maybe add in some other details. This might be confusing, so here's an example. This one became much more interesting by me just changing the top shape and cutting some designs out from inside. Your job is to create your second mock-up on your own. You do need 2, and make sure your second one fulfills all the requirements and fits in that vessel. Enjoy, and good luck with being super creative.